Hi, it's Lauren from Lauren Taylor Made, and welcome back to my craft room. I'm super excited to share with you these 4 Slimline Yeti cards for Valentine's Day. These are a great idea if you are bulk making some cards, so let's get into how I put them together. I am using the brand new Whimsy Stamps Slimline Envelope Edger dies. They have 4 different dies in here. We have scallop with diamonds, scallop with heart, we have a V that creates kind of a star and dotted pattern, and this nice curvy line with a dash line and some little kind of polka dot effect. And we're going to use the curvy line to make some snow slopes for these 4 different background papers from the Slimline paper pack Frozen. We're also going to be bringing out my favorite stamp set, if you can't tell, Yeti for Love, and we're going to be stamping the 2 largest Yetis 4 times to create 4 cards. I'm using some alcohol marker friendly ink, and I'm going to stamp these twice to get a nice clean line. I'm going to flip my paper over and stamp 2 more Yetis. Now, I've been having some issues with my ink bleeding, and so I learned a little trick that probably a lot of you may know, but I'm just heat setting my ink a little using my heat gun, and I have found that this has really helped when my ink is bleeding with my lighter colors. So let's zoom in here, and we are going to color our Yeti. So 2 of my cards have a bit more of a purple feel, so I'm bringing in those purple Yetis again. I'm starting with the lightest purple, which is PV2. And I am coloring all over his hands and horns, face and feet where I want my medium color to be, just to give my paper a little bit of ink so it will blend better once I bring in my darker colors. I bring in the medium, and like I said, I'm covering exactly where that lighter color went. And then now I'm bringing in the darkest just to add a little bit darker color in where shadows would be for the purple. I'm bringing that medium back and blending out the dark into the medium. And I'm going to go over all of those spaces again. And then I'm going to bring back in my lightest purple and color in the whole space and blend it all together. I want this to have a nice clean blend so it looks really smooth and that there are shadows cast and not, like flicks, which I will do flicks when we start coloring in their fur. So I'm going to finish coloring all of the purple in. I've got his cute little face and nose, and I changed my shading on the nose to make it look lighter on top versus his face, just to give it some contrast to how the light would hit his face. And I'm going to finish up with the feet here. So now I'm going to color the fur. I'm using IG2, which is an ice gray color, and bringing in flicks. So this one I want to look more like it's fur and hair, so it's not going to be as smooth of a color. I want there to be texture, so I'm just flicking in some of this light gray all around the edges of the stamp, so anywhere where there's kind of fur design in the stamp, as well as in the large area of the kind of beard stomach area to create more texture on the Yeti. And now I'm bringing in IG4, and this is a darker ice gray, and I'm just creating some shadow in those same areas. So anywhere where there is an overlap in the fur or along the edge of the fur to make it look a little rounder, I am bringing in that dark gray. So I'm going to go all the way around my Yeti, including in some of those spots that I added a little bit more in the middle of his, like I said, his beard body piece. And then I'm going to bring back in that lighter gray again and cover it up. So I'm really going to bring in a lot more of that gray. So he's going to look more gray than white, which is okay. I do need to find some more ice gray colors for my collection to add a little bit lighter shadow, but I really like the contrast. My backgrounds are pretty light, especially some of the more snowy backgrounds, and I think, it just gives him a little bit more standout on the background now that his fur is a little bit more of a darker gray. So I'm going all the way around and finishing up my cute little Yeti. And once that's done, I am going to bring out some pink colors. I'm going to be using the MG collection for the hearts. I'm starting out with MG2 and applying that lighter color, just like I did with my purple of my Yeti. I'm going to bring in MG4 as my midtone and bringing that up again, covering where I did the light color. And finally MG5 to bring in the darkest magenta for my hearts, and then go right back the other way. So blending out that dark with my medium and covering a little bit more of the heart, and then bringing back that lightest and coloring in the rest of the heart, and trying to create again a little bit more of a seamless blend with my lightest color. And once those are done, I'm going to remember to color in his cute little toes. So I am going to bring back in the darkest purple, which was PB4, and color in his toenails. So funny. I love their little toenails. And now I'm going to move on to coloring my other Yeti. This time I'm going to color him in blue. So I will have one Yeti in purple for the hearts, and the other one will be blue, and then one Yeti in blue with all of the cute little Valentine goodies, and the other one in purple. So all four will be different. So I'm starting the same thing like I did with my purple. I'm bringing in my lightest blue, which is TB1, and putting in color into all of the spots on the Yeti, the face, hands, feet, and horns, and then bringing in that mid-tone, which is TB4, and again covering all of the lighter areas to create some shadow. And then I'm bringing in my darkest of the blue, which is TB7, and adding that shadow into everywhere. It is a lot darker, so I'm not putting as much color. I just want it to be enough to blend out back with my mid-tone. So I'm bringing that mid-tone again, pushing out that darkest blue and coloring where I want the darkest shadows of all of my Yeti to be. And then I will bring back in that lightest blue and smooth everything out. I would love to know what you think about coloring in my videos in the comments. If you enjoy watching me color, I don't think I'm the best alcohol marker colorist, but I really enjoy watching other people color, so I'm not sure if you like my style of coloring. Let me know in the comments. I do include chapters in my videos now, so if coloring is not your thing, you can always skip ahead in the video. So now that the blue is done, I'm going to just skip over this part because you've already seen me color in with the grays and the pinks. So now let's jump into coloring our teddy bear and our chocolate little cupcake here and our little love note. So I am using EB colors for my teddy bear. I've used EB2, 4, and I think I skipped out on the 6. I think I just did EB2 and 4. I didn't want my teddy bear to be super dark. And then I brought in a much lighter brown, it's caramel, to color in the little ears and hand part of our teddy bear. And then I did bring in that EB6 to color in his nose. For the love note, I used those magenta colors for the heart, and then used FS6, which is a cream color, to add a little bit of color to the note to kind of give it like a cream envelope feel. For my chocolate cupcake, the hearts are colored in the same magenta colors, and then I'm using a bunch of EBs again for the chocolate. I'm using EB6, 4, 3, and 2, which probably is way too much for this little tiny cupcake, but I wanted it to look really chocolatey, and dark chocolate is the best chocolate. So I'm bringing in that magenta for my cupcake liner. I wasn't sure what color I wanted to do and decided that keeping that pink would be really cute. So now that those are done, I'm going to bring out my white gel pen and add some highlights to all of my images. I'm just picking spots that I think the light would hit on the image and just giving it a little bit more brightness with that gel pen. I'm also adding it to my fur, just picking random spots to add a little bit more white back into those darker gray spots. I'm going to repeat the process for both Yetis, again adding highlights to where I think light would hit the balloons and my little teddy bear and cupcake and all over my Yeti. And once that is done, I am going to color in the other two Yetis and add those highlights and then put it on my scan and cut to cut them out. While those are cutting on my scan and cut, I took a half sheet of white paper and I ran through my die cut machine that envelope edger die twice. I'm going to use both sides, so I will have 4 different cuts out of only 2 die cuts really, because of the different type of texture on both sides of that die. I'm lining up to where I want it to go on my background, and I'm using the card builder die just to create a border around my little snow slope as well as my card background. Now you can see there's one set together. I'll show you another example using the middle piece that I die cut out. I'm aligning how I want the slope to look, and I'm going to cut it out to fit my card base using that same frame die, and then using the frame die on the background paper, putting it in the corner that I want it to show the most of my background, and there they are lined up. So now that all 4 slopes are cut and all 4 of my backgrounds are trimmed, I am going to glue down the really pretty purple tree. This one's my favorite of all the backgrounds. I'm applying this to a card base. I've cut a piece of cardstock from my stash down to 7 by 8.5 and then scoring on the 7 at 3.5 to make it a slimline card. These fit really well with all of Whimsy Stamp's slimline dies. I'm adding in some scrapbook.com foam tape to my slope here, peeling off the release paper and popping it up onto my card base. So there is background number 1 of 4. I'm going to show you a second one. For the blue background, I've cut the same base out of some blue cardstock from my stash, applying my Matterhorn looking mountain here, and then popping up this snow slope as well. So I'm just adding some foam tape behind the snow slope, and I will also put in a little bit extra on the top of my little slopes just to make sure I have stability on my card. I will pull up that release paper and then pop it up onto my card base. So here is another card put together. So now that all 4 are done, you could see my little snow slopes using this awesome die. I'm going to bring out my Yetis that are now cut out and some foam squares, and I'm going to pick and choose which Yetis I want on my cards and approximately where I want to place them. I'm putting my purple with my purple and popping up that Yeti so that way it looks like he is flush with my snow slope and standing on top of the snow slope. I'll pull up that release paper and put him down. I'm going to do the same for all 4 cards. I love that there is blue and purple colors to this frozen slimline paper pack. It allows you to color your stamps in different ways. These go really great with the brand new dragon stamp set as well, the Dudley Valentine sets, as well as the cute snow penguins. There's just so much out there that you can match with this paper line. There's just so many different ideas. So I have my blue Yeti. I'm putting him right in the middle of the snowy tree background. And then my Herald Yeti, who goes with my Matterhorn background here, he is going to be popped up in the center as well. So now that I've got my Yetis on my background, let's do some fun sentiments. I have this really cool comic speech bubbles die set, and I am going to pick out 4 of the different speech bubbles to put on my cards. They go great with the sentiments from this stamp set. I'm putting together Happy Valentine's Day, and I'm inking it up and going to stamp it on the longest of the comic bubble here. I have Love You Yeti Much, and I'm going to put it on the more kind of square, rounded square shaped bubble. Yeti for Love fits into this 3rd speech bubble, and my last kind of rectangular one here goes great with the hugs sentiment. So now that those are all done, I'm going to lay them out on my cards and pick which ones I like best and figuring out the placement for these sentiments. I'm going to pop them up with foam squares, the same as I did with my Yeti. So let's go ahead and pop up all of these sentiments. I'm making sure to pay attention to which way the speech bubble, the little arrowy speech bubble part of it, is facing, so it makes sense of who is, I guess, talking on the card. And I'm going to go and finish up all 4 of these. And once these are all done, these cards are pretty much done. You don't really need a lot. The backgrounds really just make the card. You know, they're busy enough that you don't need to add a whole lot. But of course, I love bling. I need to add something shimmering and shiny on there. So I am using the Hugs and Kisses Sparklets pack that Whimsy Stamps carries. And I am picking out some of the iridescent jewels. There are some really pretty heart-shaped iridescent jewels as well as circle-shaped. And I'm just going to pick about 5 to put on each of these cards in different spots that will just, the bling will just add to it. I'm using my jewel picker to help me place them down, and then I'm going to bring out my precision glue and glue all of these down, and I'll repeat this for all 4 of the cards. So let's take a look at all of our cards. We have Hugs. I love this one so much. The background, the purple, so cute. We have Love You Yeti Much, which is my Herald card, my blue Yeti with Matterhorn in the background. We have Happy Valentine's Day, our purple Yeti with all of his sweet treats. And Yeti for Love, this blue Yeti with this snowy tree background. I really love all 4 of these cards. It's going to be really hard to send these out. I would love to know in the comments which one is your favorite. I've got a few more pictures here of each of the cards. Feel free to pause the video and take a look if you need to. Thank you so much for watching. All of the items I used are down below in the description. Please hit like and subscribe if you're new, and have a great day.